Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. Underwater Cave of Skeletons. Researchers discovered what they believe to be one of the oldest skeletons in all the Americas in an underwater cave. This person was laid to rest over 10,000 years ago in a strange ritual performed by ancient people who came way before the Maya. They took the body down into the darkness of the cave before it filled with water and buried him. Humans had only been in the Americas for about 3,000 years before that. The exploration team found the skeleton in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Although this may have been a lush jungle when the Maya took over the region, it was more of a desert 10,000 years ago. The people who lived here would have differed vastly from those who came after. This was not the pre-Columbian Mexico most people think about. The cave's opening was discovered in 2006, then explored by German cave divers. They passed through more than 1,800 feet of dark tunnels before they accidentally came upon the remains of a person from the Ice Age. The researchers brought the bones back to the surface by using sealable bags filled with cave water. For the next 3 years, researchers from the Desert Museum in Saltillo studied the bones to understand them better, but they have learned little about the person so far. They say it was probably a male and that he died at a young age. They also believe that almost immediately after his death, the cave filled with water. Number 9. 5 million pieces of Lego. There are pieces of Lego that show up on beaches all over the world. It would be pretty difficult to go searching for them since you never know where they're going to end up. But what I can tell you is that there are at least 5 million pieces of Lego currently lost at sea, and that one woman has spent 25 years looking for them. Are you a big Lego fan? Let me know in the comments. It all started in February 1997 when a cargo ship lost its freight. The ship had set sail from Rotterdam and was about 20 miles from the coast of Cornwall when a monster wave hit. The wave tilted the ship 60 degrees in one direction and then 40 degrees in the other. This sent the ship's 62 shipping containers splashing into the ocean. One of those containers had 5 million pieces of Legos in it. To make it even weirder, most of the Lego was sea-themed. They found approximately 4,756,940 pieces related to seafaring adventures. Once the container hit the ground, it burst and released all the Lego. I'm talking about small yellow life jackets, green plastic seagrass, tiny spear guns, and scuba tanks. The works. All lost at sea. Beachcomber Tracy Williams has spent 25 years tracking the lost Lego pieces. She used to spend nights with her children combing the beaches near her home, looking for lost plastic sea dragons. They found pieces as far away as Texas and Australia. Number 8. The Underwater Soldier. Researchers discovered the skeleton of a soldier from the 16th century during a routine underwater bridge inspection in the European country of Lithuania. He must have fallen into Lake Asveja 500 years ago, and nobody bothered to get him out. They discovered him wearing his sword at his side, still strapped in his boots. The shifting sediment had buried him. The man's remains were 30 feet beneath the surface under a huge layer of silt and sand. According to archaeologist Elena Prankinate, the skeleton became buried because of currents gradually covering the body with more and more sand over the centuries. This is how things get lost. Dust and sand move around, dirt gets piled on stuff, and boom! 1,000 years later, an entire buried city is 30 feet under the mud. Divers could extract the bones and the artifacts, but nobody knows too much about this man yet. They know he was a man, but they don't know what killed him. The archaeologists uncovered 2 knives along with his iron sword, a leather belt, and a buckle that may help determine his military role. Back in the 1500s, it was the House of Jagiellon that ruled the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. There was a huge castle constructed in 1412 near this lake on a piece of land that was once an island. It protected the city of Vilnius from attack. Judging by the important look of the belt buckle, the time of death, and that they found him in the water, it's safe to say the soldier may have been protecting an earlier bridge or some other gateway to the castle. He was likely there to protect whichever royals were staying in the castle. Then somehow he wound up fully clothed and dead in the lake. Number 7. The Siberian Sea Devil. There have been reports of a devil-like sea monster living in Siberia's Lake Labinkir ever since the 19th century. The legends have intrigued scientists who have heard plenty of stories but have never actually seen the monster. This lake is one of the most inaccessible in the world, right in the middle of the coldest region in Russia. That's made it pretty hard to explore. But recently, a team completed a deep dive here under its icy surface, reaching a depth of over 150 feet in freezing cold temperatures. Their goal goal was to see what mysteries they could find at the bottom of the lake. Sadly, the divers never discovered a monster. What they saw swimming under the frozen surface of the lake was a dogfish. Throughout the entire operation, divers from Russia's most prestigious organizations found nothing except dogfish. They were pretty big, about 6 feet, and frightening looking, but not devils and not monsters. Number 6. Remains of a sea monster. Something strange happened when a diver who worked in the oil and gas industry discovered the skeleton of a sea monster lying on the bottom of the ocean. The story is a little weird. It comes from Deborah Hatswell, someone who calls herself a paranormal researcher. Deborah says that in 2017, she received footage from the diver in the oil and gas industry showing him using a remotely operated vehicle 3,000 feet below the surface. In the footage, we can see the robot inspecting what we can only describe as the vertebral column of a gigantic beast. It's enormous, measuring roughly 98 feet long. And that's only the vertebrae, not the tail or the flippers or whatever other kind of squishy parts the creature may have had. The dimensions of the skeleton don't fit with any living creature known to science. The person who took the footage didn't know what to do with it, so he put it online and Deborah got a hold of it. This story was never picked up by any mainstream paleontologists or other experts, and it's largely considered a hoax. It's quite disappointing because nobody knows if it's real, if there was a dragon skeleton on the bottom of the ocean, or if they filmed this in somebody's fish tank. Do you think the bones of the mysterious creature could be real? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos about strange and mysterious discoveries. Number 5. An ancient hunting bow. Someone discovered an ancient hunting bow underwater from 460 years ago in Lake Clark National Park, Alaska. They made it between 1506 and 1660, but nobody can quite figure out where it came from. They found the antique weapon on Dena'ina Islands, an ancient indigenous people whose ancestral homelands take up large parts of South and Central Alaska. But what's bizarre is that the initial analysis of the bow shows it wasn't of Dena'ina origin, but appears to more closely resemble Alutiiq style, an indigenous people from another area. Right now, the bow is being investigated by the Park Service's Regional Curatorial Center in Anchorage, with help from archaeologists and indigenous experts. Maybe the bow was used in a trade between two ancient indigenous groups, or they had taken it after some epic battle in the snow and ice. Then it ended up at the bottom of a lake. Number 4. Missing ship in Lake Superior. A shipwreck that has been missing for 130 years was just discovered in 2022 at the bottom of Lake Superior. The ship is called the Atlanta, and they thought it to have been gone forever. Yet according to the Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society, they have identified it 30 miles from Deer Park in Michigan, at a murky depth of 650 feet. The Historical Society discovered the 172-foot schooner barge using newly developed sonic technology. They mapped over 2,500 miles of Lake Superior in the summer of 2021, and this was what ultimately led them to the location of the sunken ship. As for when the ship sank, that was back on May 4th, 1891. The Atlanta was carrying a load of coal during a storm when it got caught in a gale. The ship's sail snapped, the crew unloaded into a lifeboat, and the ship was gone. Ever since, nobody thought they would ever find it again. Everyone thought the ship was deep beneath the sediment on the bottom of the lake. But now that they have found it, researchers are amazed to see it's in excellent condition. 130 years in the cold water of Lake Superior has kept the ship in almost the same shape as when it sank. It's practically a time capsule, with all the artifacts left behind by the crew still sitting neatly on the shelves. Number 3. Rose-shaped coral reef. Scientists recently found a new coral reef off the coast of Tahiti and French Polynesia. It's one of the biggest new coral reefs and is extraordinarily unique because it's shaped like a rose. French photographer Alexis Rosenfield discovered it at a depth of between 90 and 180 feet, with help from the One Ocean campaign. The reason this is so important is that coral reefs are being bleached at an alarming rate. The bleaching is death for a coral reef, which leads to a break in the food chain and a cascading effect of marine destruction. But this rose-shaped coral reef appears to have been completely unaffected by any of the bleaching events that have destroyed many other coral reefs. It looks like it's in pristine condition, which is excellent news. It's also strange because they can find the vast majority of coral reefs at only shallow depths of up to 75 feet. It's a little unusual that they have found a coral reef at nearly double that depth and in a much darker part of the ocean. Whatever it means, scientists don't quite know, but it appears to be good news for the ocean, or at least this area. Number 2. A sunken UFO. Researchers have discovered an unidentified flying object at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Of course, it's not an unidentified flying object since it's submerged. It's more like an unidentified sunken object, a USO. But whatever you want to call it, people seem to believe it is an alien spaceship. An amateur investigator discovered the alleged sunken spaceship. He was poking around on Google Earth when he came across a questionable dark circle off the coast of Peru. The object appears to be nearly 5 miles wide and sitting right at the bottom of the ocean, weirdly close to the Nazca lines in Peru. It's these same conspiracy theorists who think extraterrestrial beings, rather than the ancient people who lived in the Peruvian desert, made the Nazca lines. The presence of an alien spaceship just off the coast bolsters these ideas. But of course, there is no solid proof that we're talking about an extraterrestrial ship. It does kind of look like Hollywood's idea of a UFO, but it also looks like a rock. Until a team of scientists can get down to the bottom of the sea and dig the shape out, we'll never know the truth. Number 1. The Wolverine Fish. Scientists have discovered a new freshwater species of fish. It's fascinating for one main reason. It has claws like Wolverine from X-Men. They have even given it the name the Wolverine Fish. It was discovered in 2021, along with over 200 additional species of freshwater fish. In case you didn't know already, scientists identify lots of new species every year. Many of them are already going extinct, and some are totally freaky. The Wolverine fish is a type of pleco catfish. It has spikes on the ends of its little paws that it uses as powerful weapons. On the side of its face, right under its eyeballs, are what look like small hands that would make a T-Rex feel long-armed, and at the ends of the hands are 3 fearsome spiky claws. The fish lives in the Brazilian river of Rio Xingu, and they have never found it anywhere else. It uses its claws as a defense mechanism when other creatures harass it. It's able to push claws out of its skin to slash its enemies, just like Wolverine from the comic books. Thanks for watching! Which marine creature terrifies you the most? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. See you later! Bye!